In today's video, we're going to be looking at Futbirthday Team 2 and talking about who's going to be the best investment. So just before the video does start, a quick little ad on a trading service I offer over on Twitch for the cheapest trading guides out there for just £4, €4, all free with Amazon Prime. You'll receive daily trading and investing guides covering PlayStation, Xbox and PC with an array of methods covering all budgets. And I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million in multiple different FIFAs. And now for the last 4 years, I've made 10 million coins in just the first month. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be looking into Futbirthday Team 2. And we're going to be talking about what are the best investments. We're also going to be talking about what we can take away from what's risen from Team 1. And the re-released promo cards of Team 1, because even though, yes, we've got a promo team in packs, we kind of actually have two promo teams in packs, because obviously we've got the re-release cards. So we're going to have a look at the re-release cards and see what we learned from last week, which we can take into this week. So the first observation that we're just going to cover quickly is that the players that were SBC fodder, for the vast majority of them, just haven't really risen. So last week, 15 of the Futbirthday players, so about half of the players, were literally SBC fodder. As in, if we go and look at the cheapest players by rating, we can see that a lot of them were last week's Futbirthday cards, like Sorloth, we can see Rod, we've got Gossens, we've got Felipe Anderson, we've got Lavela. And the main observation here is that the ones that were SBC fodder have kind of stayed SBC fodder, so there wasn't a play in investing in generally half the team. Interesting enough, there were actually two players who didn't do too badly. One of those being Paulinho, who again did get down to the price of 87 fodder, went down to 12k. He's rebounded to 14k, which is okay. But more impressively, we've got Pulisic, who went down to SBC fodder of 24k. And he's actually already rebounded 24k to 29k. The only problem with Christian Pulisic is how much can you credit his rise due to the demand, rather than the other card literally isn't selling at min price. So for example, if this card was selling at min price, would there now in theory be double the supply? And because there's now double the supply, it'd hinder the card rising? Potentially. So what we can see in the early days of this Futbirthday team is more likely than not the players that are SBC fodder, so that's going to be Kane's, Maitland-Niles, which will probably end up being, obviously he's about 10k more than fodder now, but we're still very early in the week. Reindeers will probably end up being SBC fodder. Obviously, she's SBC fodder. Danjuma is SBC fodder. Jordi Alba is SBC fodder. And as a result, these cards probably won't be very good investments. So the next sort of players we're going to look around is going to be the players that are kind of above SBC fodder, but not overly expensive. Now, it's quite interesting because last week we only had 3 players that were basically between about 100k to 500k. That was David Bowie, Barella and Kimpembe. Now this week we got way more. We've got ourselves both variations of Guerreiro. We've got Raspadori down there. We've got Buchum at the moment, but I do find it hard to believe they won't go down to SBC fodder, in all fairness. But yeah, then we got Mappy Leone, we got ourselves Swanson, we got ourselves David and Royce. So we can see that there's significantly more players who are in the mid-tier than we had last week. How did players in the mid-tier do? Well, Bowie bottomed out here on the Tuesday at 300k and has actually rebounded 100k, which is very impressive. Barella bottomed out here on the Friday and hasn't really rebounded very well. And then the Kimpembe bottomed out here on the Thursday. So very different trends across the board. Some were Thursday, some were Tuesday. And there we go. We can see Kimpembe bombed out here about 260 and he's rebounded to 315. So these cards have had very good rebounds, therefore indicating that we should see some nice rebounds on the Team 2 mid-tier players. Now it's quite interesting that Kimpembe and Bowie outperform Barella, because the normal trend is the more that someone's used, the better they can rise. Well, Kimpembe and Bowie are not significantly, but they use less than Barella. So the only reason I guess they've risen better out of packs is maybe because they have a lower supply than Barella, which means even though Barella's used more, there's way more cards, and therefore, you know, like, if people want to use the cards, there's enough cards for them to be used and them not to rise much. Whereas if there's less supply, then there's, you know, less cards for more people wanting them, and they go up. But yeah, Kimpembe and Bowie both having very nice rises. Therefore, our mid-tier players, we expect to do pretty well out of packs. I mean, early days, I'd probably expect Guerreiro to do very well, being a French player. French players normally do very well. I mean, Kimpembe and Bowie both French. Swanson to do very well, because she's a bit of a fan favourite card. And I'd say that I wouldn't imagine Mappy Leone would be the best. Royce could be good, but I just don't see him being the fastest. I would generally, if I was to make a gamble, I'd say Guerreiro, and Swanson would be my favourite two cards there. But I do think they're going off of last week's trend. Anything about 50k to probably 400k should rise nicely out of packs. So now we're going to look at the top end cards, see how they did out of packs. Now traditionally these cards just absolutely crashed out of packs, so it'll be very interesting to see how they've done this week. So Varane has, for some reason, had a price range decrease. What? Varane was going for 2.5 million. They decreased it to 1.9. Well, there's a sniping opportunity if I've ever seen. What on earth? What on earth? He has 2.3 million. They've decreased it to 1.9. Well, the more you know. Interesting enough, Rodrigo's rebounded from 1 million to 1.1 million. I presume that's the exact same here. This is very interesting because this goes against last year's trends. Interesting. So the more expensive Rodrigo up 40. The cheaper Rodrigo up 100. Jota has gone up 20, so no real money there. Saka's down 10, so no money there. Other Saka is down 10, so no money there. De Bruyne down 50, so no money there. Son is down 100, so no money there. And finally Benzema is down 10, so no money there. So I guess the conclusion to that is, just like last year, all the players who were, again, 200, 300k and below last year did well out of packs. All the expensive players didn't do well out of packs. That's because these cards are more prone to getting replaced. The cheap cards are more likely to make a lot of people's teams because people can't afford the expensive cards. Whereas if someone's got a million, you know, they're a lot more likely to go, yeah, Morgan was fun to use last week, but let me go and use Mane this week. So as a result, we're not going to go and recommend you investing anything over, I'd say, about 400 or 500k, which means the whole of that starting 11, apart from Royce, because I don't think Midrick will get that cheap, more likely than not, won't be good investments. So again, the investments we like after a little bit of research is Royce, Guerreiro, David Swanson, Mbappe, Lyon, but Raspadori and Butcham, unless they go down to SBC fodder, with my more favourites being Guerreiro and Swanson. So that is the base team done. Let's go see how the Icon team performed. We're going to start off by looking at how the cheap Icon team performed, because again, last year, there's slightly different trends this year than last year in terms of more expensive players are doing well out of packs this year. Well, last year the trend with Futbirthday Icons was that none of them did well out of packs apart from Coman. I feel like this potentially will be the trend this year with Van der Sar, especially if they're not being a promo goalkeeper this week. Yeah, so we start off with Keane, no movement on Keane. We're going to look at the cheap icons first, just see if they follow the cheap promo cards. Klose obviously had an absolute mare with his price range. Schweinsteiger's up 40, but is in the mini release, so potentially prone to have slightly different trends. Van Nistelrooy is up 30, which is interesting. Bergkamp is up 10, which is interesting. Other Bergkamp is up 10. So that was quite interesting, because there was a rise on the cheap icons. What I would say, though, is the rise on the cheap icons was nowhere near as good as the rise on the cheap birthday cards. So, you know, as a result, I wouldn't see much reason to go and prioritise icons over base cards. On top of that, we also know that the next promo, again, has icons in it and heroes in it, but no base cards. And therefore, again, would be another reason to not want to go and buy icons because of maybe panic selling around that. So the two mid-tier cards that performed the best was Schweinsteiger, who again went from 460 to 500, and Van der Sar. Van der Sar went from 460 to 520. Van der Sar, again, I kind of saw that might have had a bit of a different trend to the next, because it's very rare for us to get goalkeepers in promos. So with Van der Sar being the first promo goalkeeper we've had, I think, since literally like Road to the Final Donnarumma, like 5-6 weeks ago, I could see him doing well out of packs, and he has done well out of packs because there's no icon in this team. If there's an icon goalkeeper in this team, I don't think he would have done too well. But again, 460 to 520, it's okay, but if you look at Bowie, who went from 300 to 400, or Kimpembe went from like 260 to 320, these percentage rises are nowhere near as good. So as a result, we're not really going to go and look investing in the icon team. But that is going to go and wrap that up. The video later today is probably going to be talking about the free Evo we got yesterday and what sort of market movements we saw with that and what sort of investments we can make. But that has been that. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.